Let's talk about buyer representation, how I represent luxury buyers like a pro in Park City, Utah. Thinking about buying a home in Park City or the surrounding areas, and you're out of state, relocating, maybe wanting to buy a vacation home, a ski condo, a ski townhome. Here's the truth. Without proper representation, you could be walking into $1 million mistake, especially if you do not know that. I'm here to make sure that that does not happen to you. Hey there, I'm Nicole Bowdle, 39-year local Park City resident. I was born and raised here. I am a luxury ski property specialist, and I am the creator of the most watched Park City real estate YouTube channel. If you've been thinking about buying here in Park City, Utah, Deer Valley, or the Jordanelle, this video is going to show you what it really looks like to work with me. As we're going to dive deep in here. We're going to get into the details here and why that can make all the difference. So let's get straight into it. Before I can legally represent you, give you advice, talk to you about a lot of stuff, there are 3 documents that you actually have to sign: an exclusive buyer broker, a wire fraud disclosure, and a buyer due diligence checklist. Now, if you're like, hey, Nicole, we just met, I just discovered you, we're not like 100% sure if we want to land in Park City yet, or you're just kind of not sure about signing an agreement, there also is like a 1-day showing agreement that I am allowed to sign with people. However, the way that I operate is I'm really only going to show you 1 or 2 properties with that showing agreement, not 10, not 20, and I'm not going to drive you all over the place. If you want to see 1 or 2 houses, kind of get your feet wet, meet me in person, and then you want to talk about what it really looks like to work together later, we can also do that. So that is another option if you are super uncomfortable with getting into a written agreement with someone. But I think it's also important to know that the written agreement, you don't have to buy anything. It's easily cancelable. You don't have to be roped into a long period of time with me. It could be for a day, it could be for a week, it could be for a month, it could be for 6 months. I've had all sorts of timelines on these buyer broker agreements. There's not a one size fits all for everybody. So, by signing these 3 agreements, if you're choosing to sign the 3 agreements and jump right into buyer representation, because you're like, no, we watch all your videos, Nicole. We love you. You know the area, you know your stuff. We absolutely want you to represent us because we know you've helped dozens and dozens and dozens of buyers buy here in Park City and the Jordanelle and the Wasatch Back. If you're not willing to sign that and you just want to jump into a showing agreement, you are still a customer, not a client of mine. So I don't owe you any fiduciary duties, and I don't have to answer my phone for you. And I don't have to get back to you right away. And I don't need to let you pick my brain because you're just a customer. You're not a client. So does that make sense? If you're not a client, you're not going to get access to all of me. So just keep surfing the web, watching YouTube channels, and gathering as much free information as you can. Come into town and drive yourself around. By signing these 3 documents, this allows me to legally protect you. Now, whoever you choose to work with, you're going to have to sign these documents with whoever you choose. So it's not just like I'm making you sign them. No, if you went to somebody else, you would also have to sign these. If you buy in a different state, you would also have to sign these if you want buyer representation. And it gives you full access to everything that I have to offer my clients, and I negotiate on your behalf. So why does representation matter? Well, you could go it alone and I can show you what the unrepresented buyer disclosure looks like that you'd have to be signing. If you go straight to the listing agent says, guess what? My seller doesn't want me to represent you, so you're on your own. And actually, what you're choosing to waive and give up there. A lot of people think, oh, I'm going to go directly to the listing agent because it will save me money and I won't have to pay that buyer's agent, which is total BS because when a seller gets into an agreement with a listing agent, they already have negotiated a fee for that seller to pay that listing agent. So you, the buyer coming in and going, I don't have my own agent. Will you give me a discount? They're going to turn around and look at you and say, no, that's not how it works. And basically, if I were you, I would go get your own representation so that it's not a rocky road and you get a good buyer's agent that can get you through the transaction. Some sellers are not going to allow the listing agent to represent both sides. So you're either going to have to be an unrepresented buyer or hire a buyer's agent. Now, there are 3 ways that you can pay a buyer's agent. 99.9% of the time, we have written it into the real estate purchase contract, and the seller has paid my fee fully and completely, and they have never pushed back on it. They have never negotiated it down. Why? Because they want to sell their. So if that is something that you are worried about, please don't worry about it. We write it in the offer. We ask the seller to pay for it. And I've never gotten any pushback because I know what I'm doing and I'm a freaking good negotiator. And I help you write a strong offer that gets accepted, that lets the seller know that you're a strong buyer and they should pick you. And if you don't, and if you choose to go it alone, you're also might miss off market listing. And if you just go straight to the builder, guess what? I've had people do that where they were like, "We don't have an agent. Can you give us a discount?" And the builder's agent was like, "No, it's not how it works. Like, I already have a fee negotiated with my seller. Just because you don't have an agent doesn't mean that you're going to get a discount because my contract is with my seller, not you guys." So I hope you understand that there are three agreements that govern a real estate purchase contract. There's the listing agreement. This is between the seller and the listing agent. There's a buyer broker agreement, which is between the buyer and the buyer's agent. Then you have the real estate purchase contract, which is the contract between the seller and the buyer. So you could accidentally waive your right to a full representation if you talk directly to the listing agent or walk into a model home unregistered. It's a high stakes market in Park City, and it could cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars if you don't know what you're doing. So my process for buyers when you work with me, I am not a tour guide for you. Okay. You are getting a proven strategic partner to help you make the best investment possible in the right area, in the right location. That's going to give you a good return on your money. It's going to fit your lifestyle and your family needs. You're going to receive curated MLS listings, alerts, access to off market listings, and property previews before they hit the market, essentially, that are tailored to your lifestyle. I'll coach you through how do we write the offer, how do we craft the terms, earnest money, including 22 of the most critical sections of the contract that I'll walk you through. We'll craft it, we'll write it. And when it's time to write the offer, we're not going to guess, we're going to strategize. Now, if you're not local, don't worry, I've got this dialed in because all of my clients that come through this YouTube channel are all out of state or relocating here. They're either buying a vacation home or they're actually relocating here. So I'll handle FaceTime showings. I highly recommend that before you write an offer on a property that you see it in person. Video walkthroughs. I'll coordinate everything with your lender, the inspector, appraisals, and we'll get you through the timeline to the closing table from signing your closing documents, whether you're signing remotely or you're going to fly in person. You need help setting up utilities. You need a remote notary. You're going to fly back for due diligence. We'll map it all out together so that nothing falls through the cracks. So here's what you really get when you work with a Chris Voss trained negotiator. If you don't know who that is, he wrote Never Split the Difference. I've been able to be in a very tight, small community with him over the last year and learn directly from him. So it's safe to say that I have got tactical empathy in my back pocket and I've been trained by the best negotiator on the planet, frankly. I've got 39 years of local insight from living here, being a local that you can't get anywhere else and you can't get from an agent that doesn't live in this community, that doesn't live in this neighborhood, that doesn't know what's going on. I'm a deal maker with my eyes on every single contract deal. I don't let anything slip through the cracks. We're ironclad and someone who actually protects your interests, your timelines, your earnest money, and your sanity. I don't just help you buy a home, I help you win and I protect what you're investing in. So let's talk expectations because this is a partnership. It's not a transaction. I keep things moving fast and efficiently, and I expect you to match that energy. So this means I need prompt responses. Please keep me in the loop on all communication. Do not ghost me. And if something bad comes up or something happens that is going to affect your ability to close on this transaction, I need to know about it ASAP. And please do not tour homes without telling me. And definitely do not go directly to the listing agent when you're trying to buy a property and I'm representing you. I protect you best when I know what's going on. And I've definitely had a few rogue buyers in the past that have just kind of like fallen off the rails and didn't listen to anything that I said. Now, not everyone is the right fit for me, and I am totally okay with that. I only take on clients who are really serious, respectful of the process, and aligned with how I work. If you want a luxury experience and nothing to fall through the cracks and for everything to be wrapped up in a bow, white glove service, and have a pro in your corner, then we'll be the perfect match. Are you ready to take the next step? Go ahead and download the free buyer representation guide. The link is below. Or you can book a private consultation with me and we can see if we're a good fit. I'm Nicole Bowdle, your local luxury agent in Park City, and I can't wait to help you find that next right mountain property. If you would like to stay for a little bonus part of this video, I'm going to be sharing my screen and diving in deep with you into the guide so that you can see what you're actually downloading and what exactly to expect. Buyer representation. Required paperwork before touring homes and writing an offer. There are three documents that legally govern a real estate transaction: an exclusive right to sell agreement between the seller's agent and the seller, an exclusive buyer broker agreement between the buyer and the buyer's agent, and a real estate purchase contract between seller and buyer. Before I can legally represent you in writing an offer or showing you homes, three documents must be signed. These allow me to work exclusively on your behalf and protect your interests. The exclusive buyer broker agreement, the wire fraud disclosure, and the buyer due diligence checklist are the three documents that need to be signed before we show any homes. And if you click here, when you download this guide, it's actually going to take you to the rules of NAR. So you understand that buyer's agents will sign a written agreement with the buyer before touring a property. This is a link to all the docs if you want to know what it looks like to become a client and not just a customer. This is what we will actually be signing. And so you can see all the docs beforehand so you know what you're getting into. And these are all documents that I will end up sending to you. You do not fill this out on your own. This is what the limited showing agreement looks like. So if you are uncomfortable signing those documents, please understand that this is not a representation agreement and you are still a customer and not a client by signing this. If you choose to be unrepresented, here is also the form of what you're actually waiving. So you've got the seller's agent, the buyer's agent, the limited agent, and it lets you kind of know what you're getting into if you choose to go the road alone. Please note this is a formal commitment. And I get it, you might need some time to review, and it's okay. Let's walk through it together. Buyer education and expectations. So there's a buyer due diligence checklist, agent compensation. What happens if the buyer's agent comp or BAC is less than the agreed to 3%? You end up buying a for sale by owner, or if you end up buying an off market deal. So the way that I have been asking for buyer agent compensation, most buyers are not directly going to pay their agent, although some buyers have chosen to do this. And I know deals where they have, they've basically just offered 3% off the purchase price so that they could pay their agent versus the seller paying it. If the brokerage is offering compensation, then we can do this through a brokerage sharing agreement. And this is something where the offer would not be written in the real estate purchase contract. And option three, which the most popular option right now, is just writing compensation directly into that real estate purchase contract and having the seller pay for it. Again, I have never had pushback on writing 3% into the real estate purchase contract. They pay it and you don't end up having to pay it because they want to sell their house. Looking at homes without me present, what does that mean? Open houses, model homes, and sales galleries. I really need to register you as a client before you go look at those. If you intend on going there without me, I might not be able to represent you and that could be void. New construction contracts and builders often use their own Rep C. So if you're getting into a builder contract, please remember they are not buyer friendly. They are developer friendly. If you buy something from Extel, you're getting into a 55-page contract, but don't worry, I'll help walk you through. I've pretty much represented a buyer on every single builder and new development in the Park City area. So I've seen all the contracts and I kind of know the process and the flow of everything. So rest assured, I got a ton of experience doing this. Search and strategy tools. So your home search is going to include auto listing alerts from the MLS platforms. You can look on Christie's website, agent exclusive apps. Please let me know if your preferences change or you're going to keep getting the same search criteria. So if at any point during this process, the area changes, the price point changes, number of bedrooms, bathrooms, the type of property you want to buy changes, please let me know ASAP so that I can update the search criteria or you're just going to be getting the same old thing. And I know you're probably already browsing Zillow, Redfin, Realtor.com. So you're going to obviously be browsing that on your own. There's no way I can stop you from doing that. So if you see something you like and for whatever reason it did not get sent to you because maybe you were looking for nightly rentals And so I have that as a check on the search criteria to filter out anything that's not nightly rental approved. And you send me something on Zillow, and I'm like, hey, guess why you didn't get that? Because it's not nightly rental approved. Or if for whatever reason you see something, send me the Zillow listing, send me the realtor.com listing, send me the Redfin listing. I will handle the showing for you. I will get that set up. I'll dive into the information on the MLS and I'll get you whatever you need. Financing or cash. To begin showing or writing offers, I need to know that you're pre approved. If you're not pre approved, I can help you get pre approved with a local lender, or I need a proof of funds if you're paying cash. If you don't have these things lined up, then we need to pause and really get the cart before the horse. You need to be a strong buyer, and I need to know that you're qualified to buy what I'm taking you to look. Earnest money and deposits. All this money needs to be liquid. You only have 4 calendar days once you go under contract to wire this money. If it doesn't make it, that is the first deadline. You don't want to default on the first deadline. New construction deposits, they're often due really quickly, and you want to read the fine print because there's often sometimes multiple deposits along the way. You also don't want to default by being late and not wiring the money on time because your money is not liquid. And I'll walk you through sections if you're buying new construction, depending on whether you're buying from a builder or it's a Utah state approved form. Contract terms and timelines. There are 22 critical contract sections. I walk you through all of this. Also, if you're buying in an HOA, that's what you need to ask. Due diligence, inspections, appraisals, HOA docs, seller disclosures, and warranties. I walk you all through this. Deadlines matter. Time is of the essence in every offer. I need you to be very responsive. When I send you a document to sign, please sign it. You've got to be responsive. One of my biggest pet peeves are married couples who don't communicate with each other. And I send the wife the document and she signs immediately, but then the husband doesn't sign it for a week. So please communicate with each other. Please communicate with me if you're like out of town or you're not going to have service. Please let me know so that I can kind of anticipate when to send you the documents so that I know when you're going to sign because timing is of the essence. And if you don't get these documents signed, you could potentially be in default. I'll send a timeline once you're under contract that you need to save, bookmark, and put in your calendar so you have all these critical timeline deadlines at your fingertips. Extensions are not guaranteed, so communicate early. If something comes up and we know we're not going to make a deadline and we need to ask for an extension, they're not guaranteed, so we may have to cancel, or we've got to write an addendum, which I need both parties' signatures on. So it's a process of trying to get things in motion. So please communicate that with me early if there's any bumps in the road. Final walkthrough, it's got to be completed by you. I cannot do this on your behalf. And again, if you're a cash or financing, please don't switch this in the middle of the contract. I've had people that were going to be all cash and then 2 days before closing said they needed to get a loan. And that creates a lot of friction in the contract. So we need to know up front, is this a cash offer? Is it a financing offer? Because a lot of the times the seller only accepted your offer because it was cash. And then a week later, you're like, hey, send the contract to my lender. I'm actually going to finance this. Okay, well, now there's going to be an appraiser involved. The seller thinks that it's a cash deal. If they knew you were going to finance, then they may not have accepted your offer. So being really clear up front, are you cash? Do you need a loan? If problems occur along the way, we figure it out, but don't do anything shady. Out of state buyers, if you're not local, let's plan property videos, FaceTime showings, or are you going to be flying here in person to see the properties? I highly recommend you fly in to see the properties. Are you going to fly in for due diligence, the inspection, and for the final walkthrough? Signing documents remotely or in person, timing and communication is critical, especially if you're getting a loan, because you need a remote notary. So you're going to end up having to sign these documents early, and people's lives are very, very busy. So we've really got to get on top of that and be organized from the get go so that you're not late on getting the documents to the title company on the settlement deadline so that you can close, fund, and record. So, who's handling utilities? Sometimes these require your physical presence to set up cable. You've got to be there in person to get cable set up. So, what happens if I'm out of town? We can go through this. You go straight to the listing agent. That's never a good thing. You might be waiving your representation. You walk into a sales gallery or model home without me, that's also not a good thing. I need to represent you. I need to register you as my client. And what happens when you only give me 3 days notice before you're flying into town? I'm going to do my best to accommodate, but sometimes I've had people who hit me with that news, and guess what? I wasn't here, wasn't in town. So you want to write an offer, but you don't have a pre approval and you don't have a proof of funds. We're going to need to pause so that we get the cart before the horse. Have you worked with or written offers with another agent recently? That is something that needs to be disclosed upfront in the buyer broker. And I put the section where that is in there. The value that I bring. So, the benefits of working with me: early access to new and off market listings, expert local insights, 39-year local network of agents and insiders, skilled negotiator who understands buyers and sellers, obviously trained by the best in the business, Chris Voss. I manage your entire transaction from contract to close. I protect your earnest money timeline and sanity. And I'm not taking on new buyers unless you're the right fit. This is a partnership, not just a transaction, and I don't want to end up babysitting. Market insight and offer strategy. What's the current market like? Is it a buyer's market? Is it a seller's market? That also depends on the area that you're looking in, the neighborhood that you're looking in, and the price point that you're looking in. What's happening in the price range that you are looking in? And what's a smart offer? What's a winning offer? What's a winning offer look like in the market that we're in? Communication preferences. Let's clarify this. When is the best time of day to reach you? Do you prefer email or text or phone call? Are you okay with weekend communication? If you don't want to be bothered on the weekends, then don't submit an offer on a Friday. Final walkthrough. You, the buyer, must do the final walkthrough in person. Again, I cannot do this for you. I have accommodated several clients who have been fabulous clients of mine, and I have done the walkthrough for them, and it's been new construction. But I am telling you, I can't blue tape a property, do a FaceTime tour with the builder's representative. I can only do one thing at one time. So it's always best if you're here in person, because then you fly in and then you're kind of like forgot. You're like, oh, wait, where was the water shut off? Oh, wait, how am I supposed to do that? Oh, yeah. Oh, wait, what was this thing for? So it's just much better if you can be here in person for it, or otherwise you're going to have a lot of questions down the line because you weren't able to be present for it in person. Lifestyle fit. Tell me what matters most to you, because the more I know about you, the better I can serve you. If I don't know anything about you, then it's really hard for me to do a good job for you. Some of my biggest pet peeves are poor communication. If we're working together, please keep me in the loop. Ghosting, vague texts, or leaving me out of important conversations slows everything down and creates unnecessary chaos. Dragging your feet on paperwork. Time is of the essence, especially in this market. Delays in signing documents can cost you the deal. I move fast to protect your interests. I'll expect the same energy in return. Showing up unannounced. Coming into town, please give me a heads up. Last minute showings can be tough to coordinate, especially during busy seasons. I want to give you my full attention and not have to scramble. Going directly to the listing agent, this is a big one for me, especially with new construction. Always CC me on any communication with developers or listing agents. If I'm not available, I'll coordinate the showing for you. I need to be in the loop so I can advocate for you and protect your position, because that is literally my job.